Hello. In this video, we're going to continue our work on imperial units of capacity, but we're going to look at word problems. So let's start with the first one. Jody is making a punch for a family reunion. She needs 5.5 quarts of pineapple juice. How many cups is this? That's a typo. Is this? Okay, so let's highlight the information that is given to us. We know that she needs 5.5 quarts of pineapple juice. What is required for us to find? What is the question? Is we need to know how many cups this is. So we are, if we summarize this into a sentence, are essentially trying to convert 5.5 quarts into cups. So let's look at our conversions to see if there is a relationship between quarts and cups. So our conversion is this, quarts and cups. Well, no, there isn't. There's a relationship between quarts and pints, and then quarts and cups. So here's what I'm going to do. You can solve this step by step like we did in the previous video, or you can go directly from quarts to cups by multiplying the conversion factors. And that is what I'm going to do here. So 1 quart to pints is 1 quart to pints is 2 pints. And then I'm going to take that and convert it to cups. So I'm going to multiply by 2. So here I multiply by 2. Here I multiply by 2. Together, 2 times 2 gives me 4. So the conversion factor is, I'm going to write it down here or in the corner, is 1 quart is equal to 4 cups. Okay. So let's write that underneath my number sentence because it's already lined up. If you're not comfortable with the method of multiplying conversion factors, you can always do everything step by step. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, now let's see how we can go from one to the other. To go from quarts to cups, we multiply by 4. That means here I will also multiply by 4. So 5.5 times 4. Now, to input this into your calculator, you will need to convert this most likely into a decimal. So that is 5.5. How do we know that? Because 1/2, 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. If you do that on your calculator, then add it to the 5, that becomes 5.5. Okay, so back to our question, 5.5 times 4, and that gives us 22. So Jody will need 22 cups of pineapple juice. I'm going to summarize that in a sentence, in a concluding sentence. So here, Jody needs 22 cups of juice. All right, let's move on to the next question. So in this question, we have Nancy who is making a recipe for muffins. If the recipe calls for a 1/4 cup of milk, how many fluid ounces of milk does she need? So that is the question. We want to know that amount in fluid ounces. So we need a relationship essentially that compares cups to fluid ounces. So let's look at our conversion factors here. So we have one, it's this one right here. 1 cup is equal to 8 fluid ounces. So I'm going to write it down underneath. 1 cup is equal to 8 fluid ounces. To go from cups to fluid ounces, we multiply by 8. So here we multiply by 8 as well. So what we're doing essentially is we're taking 1/4 and we are multiplying by 8. If you were to input this in your calculator and you want to use decimals, 1/4 is the same thing as 0.25 times 8, and that is equal to 2. So Nancy will need 2 fluid ounces of milk. So I'm going to write that in a sentence. Nancy will need 2 fluid ounces of milk for her recipe. And we are done. All right, let's move on to the next question. I'm going to clean this up because I'm going to use it very soon. All right, the next question, it says, George bought a 24-pack of Coke. If each, so that means each can of pop, contains 12 fluid ounces, how many quarts of pop did he purchase? Okay, so This question is a multi-step question. We need to organize our thoughts first and see what's given to us, what are the steps that we're going to take, and create a plan. So let's start with what we know. Here's what we know. We know that George bought a 24 pack of Coke. I'm not going to attempt to draw 24 packs of Coke, but let's just use this to visualize. Okay, these are the cans of Coke. Okay, so there's 24 of those. Okay, so 24 cans. We know that one can has 12 fluid ounces, right? So the question is saying is, for all 24, how many quarts is that? So they're kind of jumping here. What we can do to figure that out is, first we can say, well, okay, before we jump into quarts, how many fluid ounces is a 24 pack of Coke? Because I know how many fluid ounces are in one can, so how many fluid ounces are in 24 cans? And then once I figure that out, then I can possibly convert it to quarts. So let's put pen to paper and write that plan down. So first, we want to know, step number 1 is how many fluid ounces are in 24 cans of Coke. Then step number 2 is I can convert that measurement in fluid ounces into quarts. Okay? All right, let's begin. Step number 1. If one can has 12 fluid ounces, then 24 cans will have 24 times 12. What is that number? That number is 288. 288 fluid ounces in 24 cans of Coke or pop. So now that I figured that number out, I'm going to convert it into quarts. So step number 2, I'm going to take 288 fluid ounces and I'm going to convert it into quarts. So let's look at our conversion factors. We want a conversion factor that relates fluid ounces to quarts. Okay, here we go. Fluid ounces is right here, and quarts is right here. So I need to get from here to here. So again, the long way would be convert this to cups, and then from cups convert it to pints, and then from pints convert it to quarts. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, it's mistake proof. You can do it. There's nothing wrong with it. However, what I'm going to do, is I'm going to do it by combining the conversion factors. Okay, so I know that this is 8, this is 2, this is 2. I multiply them together. So that becomes 32. 8 times 2 times 2 is 32. So I'm going to go back to my question and I'm going to write that conversion factor. I'm going to say 1 quart was equal to 32 fluid ounces because I multiplied the factors 8 times 2 times 2. Now, I need to line that up. So I apologize for how messy my screen is right now. So I'm going to just rewrite the question so that we are organized again. I'm not doing any math right now. I'm just rewriting step number 2. I know that 1 quart is equal to 32 fluid ounces. Now, how do I get from here to here? I divide by 32. So to get from there to there, I will also divide by 32. So 288 divided by 32 is 9. So in conclusion, 24 cans of pop or Coke have 9 quarts of liquid or pop. All right. Let's do, I believe this is the last question. Let's have a read. When traveling in North Dakota, Mary bought a gallon of milk for $3. How many quarts are in 1 gallon of milk? And then in question B, how much does 1 quart of milk cost? Let's look at one question at a time. How many quarts are in 1 gallon of milk? We don't need to do any operations, anything at all. we're just going to get this relationship from our conversion factors, from our formula sheet. So here I know that 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts. That's the only thing I have to do here. So I'm going to write that down. 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts. Done. Now the next question is saying, how much does 1 quart of milk cost? I know what 1 gallon of milk costs. It costs $3. But how much does 1 quart cost? So I'm going to write that relationship here. So 1 gallon costs $3. I want to know 1 quart. How much does that cost? I'm going to put X because I don't know. You can put N, you can put what question mark, whatever works for you. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a proportion. I'm going to make these two rates equal to each other. I want them to be equivalent. So you would have seen this in the math foundations unit. If you want to review, that would be a good time to do that. It should be under proportions. All right. And I'm going to write this as a proportion. So 1 gallon over $3 is equal to 1 quart over X. Okay, so it's a fraction equaling a fraction. But if you remember, when we talked about proportions in the Math Foundations unit, we said that proportions have to have the same units. So it has to be gallon and dollar, gallon and dollar. Or it has to be quart over dollar, quart over dollar. I can't mix units. So here, I'm going to have to convert either the gallons to quarts or the quarts to gallons. It's easier to just convert the gallons to quarts. We've already done it like a few seconds ago. So this one here is 4 quarts, we said, right? If you look at question A, we said 1 gallon is 4 quarts. So now they're all in the same units. Quarts and dollars, quarts and dollars. Beautiful. And now I can cross multiply to solve this proportion. All right, so let's do that. This and this. So 4 times x is 4x. 1 times 3 is 3. Then we divide both sides by 4. And then x is equal to 0.75 because 3 divided by 4 is 0.75. So then my answer, my conclusion is Mary will pay $0.75 or 75 cents per quart. And we're done. If you are confused about what I did here, I would like you to review proportions and cross multiplication in the Math Foundations unit. If you are confused about what I did here, I would like you to review solving one-step equations under algebra. Okay? All right. And this is it for